right, what is going on, everybody? Today is the start of a new build series that me personally, I've been waiting years and years and years to get to this point. I know a lot of you have brought it up and asked questions. It is time. We're finally going to do it. So, it is in the shop. I finally get to actually work on one of my own vehicles. So this is my 2008 Chevy Silverado. This is my personal pre-runner, which I've never had the chance to be able to fit it in here in the shop. And we are at a really good point right now to take a couple weeks and get this thing knocked out. So a couple other projects have some good progress. We just sent home that Lincoln. Just about to paint the other pre-runner that's out there. We're gonna paint that, I think, tomorrow. But we do have it in here. We did pull off. This is my, it's not a stock, but it's a Chevy 10 bolt. It's out of a 2019 Chevy Silverado 1500. I did put a locker, 513 gears, and just a quick little truss on it. It is disc brakes. That's what I've ran in here for quite a while. I've gone through a handful of rear ends, and that one actually held up pretty good. So that's actually going in the 4Runner build that we did a while back. We're gonna go ahead and throw that in there for now, temporary, so we can get it linked. So going in my truck is a fully fabricated GMR full floater housing. So I've actually probably had this rear end for 5 or 6 years now, honestly. It's been floating around. It's been sitting in the garage. I usually park the Razor over top of it. So it is a full floater. It does have full floater. It does have weld-on snouts. So then you have the hubs here. So I'm gonna go ahead. I'm gonna have to clean this up a little bit. We're gonna finish it. I still gotta get gears. I still gotta get a third member, but it's already trusted. It's got a back trust, and it's got a little mini trust, and then it's got the upper 4-link mounts. It's got the lower 4-link mounts. I'll get you guys a better look at it once it's down on the ground in there. So as for right now, we do have the rear end pulled out. We have the gas tank pulled out, leaf springs pulled out. I do need to cut these off, as well as the front leaf spring hangers. I am going to go ahead and leave the frame for now. I think I want it for the weight, but I'm gonna modify it. I've already fully boxed in the rear of it here before building the full cage and adding the little trailer hitch and everything. But the cross members up here where the fuel cell is going to go, I did order a fuel cell. I'm going to cut those cross members out and redo them and build a base for the fuel cell. So it's going to sit probably top of it, close to the window there. It's going to sit on a little frame tucked up out of the way. As well as, once we get the 4 links and everything in, once we get the 4-link trailing arm, you guys saw me build my trailing arm mounts on a couple of the videos. Once we have it, everything's in, 4-link completed, axle in place, we're going to bump it out, and we're going to cut out and do a big gnarly C-notch in there, as well as we're going to add our bump stop cans and everything. So it's going to bump, it's going to lay just literally probably 2 inches or so off the ground at full bump. Just enough to not kiss the dirt too hard. But we're going to try to get as much travel as we can out of it. I do have 18-inch ADS coilovers, 2.5s with triple rate springs with reservoirs and everything that are going on it. So I am trying to track down some 20-inch triple bypasses, probably some 3.0s. maybe even some 4.0s to go a little bit bigger, depending on the deals I can find, because they are pricey. So, but in the meantime, we got her torn down, running through the axle, getting it ready. We're gonna put it down here, get it in place. I'm gonna carry the trailer arms and everything out from the garage. And once all this frame's cleaned up, we're gonna start hooking up all the 4-links. So I'm gonna try to film it decently. Shop is hectic. We've been busy. So I've been really focusing on the shop more than I have YouTube. Trying to get ahead enough and pay my bills and everything ahead of time to where I can afford to take a couple weeks off and do this. So I apologize, I haven't been filming as good as I should, but that's trying to make it so this is possible. So got some money set aside, got everything set aside, and we're in line to just knock this out and finally accomplish one of my dreams, is getting this thing linked. Once it's linked, we're gonna park it outside under our shade structure, and I'm gonna slowly start caging it in the middle of all these other projects. So, as far as a couple other small details, you can see the bedside mounts here on this side are straight. Bedsides mount here are kinked up. That's from when I ripped the rear end out, which is why I'm doing this. The tire and everything shoved up into this bedside, which is why the big corner of the bedside here is gone. But it just basically shoved tire right up into that little kink there. So when this should be laying flat, everything is pushed up. So this bedside is sitting higher on this side. So we're gonna cut that off. We're gonna redo this little corner as well. Alright, so here's the rear end going in my truck. I had to remount this hole a little bit bigger. I ordered a weld-in drain plug. I'm going to go ahead and weld that in there. And then I have the oil fill here, which goes in there, screws in there. That's going to be, so I'm about to weld both of these on.
What's up, guys? So basically what's going on in Travis's truck right now, I just got all the frame plating cuts and set. Had to cut this tab off for the glass, put that on top of that, got it all fit, tacked, got some nice design language kind of flowing with the frame rail. The other thing that we've done is we've cleaned up a lot of the frame here. There used to be a bunch of bungs that came off the front, and there was a crossmember that went here. It looked ugly, it looked stupid. We're going to replace that with some nice thick DOM, make it nice and stiff. Cleaned up all the frame rails that had a bunch of rust on them and stuff. Get it repainted, get it looking sexy again. Just cleaning everything up, making it look good. We're gonna put some circles in here, kind of just cover this up, make it strong. Doing hole deletes on basically every hole that's unnecessary. Making it look like a race car. Basically what's going on right now.
Just clean it up.
Clean it up.
Show them that you can see right through that hole there.
Yeah, so used to be a tube. It went through all the way to the other side. There's the other hole. Just gonna put some caps basically. Weld those, get it flush, make it look clean. As you can see, prepping the frame rails for getting the links on there for the axle. It's gonna look good.
Yeah, another thing you can see here is the stock cross member going across here that I do have the dual batteries and limit straps and everything on, which is also a big part of why we're doing this frame plate right here. It's just gonna cover a lot of holes. And since the back of the frame, ow, clunk. Since the back of the frame, this last like foot and a half section here isn't boxed, we're just gonna go ahead and throw a little bit of plating on there as well. Another thing we are doing, we are in the process of shaving down all the bushings, making them properly fit right. And he's taking a bunch of measurements to get all the proper shank grade 8 hardware. So we're gonna go ahead and we're gonna have all our hardware, everything ready to go for this. Just doing our final little last detail pieces so we can actually start getting the rear end up under the truck and start measuring and getting it all in place. As you can see here, some of the frame cleanup work, we're literally just going to be capping some holes, just covering it up, cleaning it up. Alright, so today, excuse me, I'm a little bit sick. So today we're going to be doing my C-notch kit on my Silverado on the Prerunner build. So here I am just inputting everything, getting it ready to cut for the CNC. Let's see here. Alright, boom. When everything is green, it does have a operation. It has a cut path. You see all the little blue lines, that's where the torch is going to go. So I got those all ready to go. There's a small list, a couple parts that I couldn't fit on this sheet. So I'm going to have to make another sheet once these are all cut. So I'm going to go ahead, I'm going to save this file, and I'm going to bring it out to the cutter. Alright, so yesterday we cut out our C-notch kit. Went ahead and just cleaned it up real quickly and just kind of put it in place, cut out the frame, tacked a couple of the pieces together. This is where we're at. I had to clearance a little bit more up here on the body mounts, so I had to cut them a little bit higher. I had to cut some of my front bedside mounts off just to be able to get it to go all the way up in there. So here's a quick look at everything. Rear end's tucked all the way up in there. So give you an idea of how high the axle is. Bottom of my frame's all the way down here. So we're gonna be bumping out pretty good. So I'm gonna go ahead, I'm gonna continue tacking the side plates on, and then I'll do the inside plates. And then once that's fully boxed in, I'm gonna go ahead and drop the axle, and I'm gonna go ahead and fully burn it in. And then we're gonna start doing placement of our bump stops. Peter, what you doing, buddy? Alright guys, so check it out. So I had my roommate Joey have his boss cut me out a fuel cell cradle. It's basically used underneath the back of the bed on a pre-runner when they're trying to keep the bed. So it's super heavy duty, it's a skid plate. Jack's Motorsports. They have been a huge help in my build, and they cut this out for me. I welded it up, and this is going to go right here, which is why we have that 45 degree on one end right here for the links. So the front of it where it says Jack's Motorsports can be right there, then the flat bottom, and it's gonna sit in this perfect little cubby here. So I had to weld it all up, and then we're gonna drop it in place, and we're gonna make some mounts for it. So then that way I can order a Jazz 32 gallon Jeep Speed fuel cell, and it'll drop right in there and it'll fit perfectly. Alright, so we have the back side of the fuel cell sitting on a piece of pipe. I'll show you here. Sitting on a piece of pipe all the way across. It's perfectly leveled. Pipe is fully welded in, and all we did is we did just a small little tack on each side to hold the fuel cell cradle in place, and then we leveled it with these straps here, and then we went ahead and Joey made some CNC brackets here, which I will show you right here. We have the driver and passenger, and I did put a little bend in it. I'm going to show you right here how this is how we're going to hold the front of it. This is going to weld on. It's going to sit just like that. That way I can weld on the inside of that triangle, and I can weld all the way around the outside, and then I will weld both sides sitting here on the tube. So you see here how that bend allowed it to follow the tubing on the cage. Alright, so I just want to throw this in here. I know a lot of you guys are big off-road guys. That's why you follow my builds, stuff like that. I know a lot of people will appreciate this. I know my dad definitely will. Harbor Freight has their new Badland off-road jack. I do have the extender on here now because I'm going to jack my axle all the way up, which it is fully adjusted all the way down, so it does have another couple inches it can adjust out, but my axle is going to start pretty low, so it should get in there. But I basically need to jack my axle up, and I need to shorten all my wheel studs and put on my new wheels and everything. So I'm gonna go ahead, I'm gonna test this thing out and see how we're gonna do with the height. I've used it on a car before, yesterday and this morning, but I'm gonna actually use it with the new extender piece on there. But like I said, I'm gonna use it all the way down, but it still adds 4 or 5 inches to it, just fully collapsed. So let's give it a shot. All right, check out the reach on that thing. What's up, Vader? What are you doing? All right, guys, so that is gonna be it for the first video of the series of linking my truck. The next video, we're gonna be putting my bedsides on, mounting my rear bead locks, which I'm about to start doing now. And then we're going to be bumping it out, and we're gonna strip it all down, paint it, and that's gonna be it for now. We're gonna roll it out and we're gonna start the internal cage next. So with that being said, I just want to say thanks again for watching. Hope you guys enjoy all the content. I guess we'll just keep going. We'll keep cranking at it and we'll get this thing done. I got the new project coming in, so I gotta get this thing out in the next couple days. So I'm just gonna shut up with that being said, and I'm gonna get back to work. So peace out, thanks again for watching, and we'll see you guys on the next one. Thanks, guys.